Hey friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina, I am your host, and I am thrilled to do a little stroller comparison video for you while I have the brand new version of the Silver Cross Reef 2 2025. So very thrilled about that. Oh, and before we get started, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. You'll be alerted when we get new videos. You can like this video, and then at the end, after this comparison, if I haven't covered everything and you have questions, please feel free to leave them below in the comment section. Also, if you have a favorite in the video or something that you think is really cool and you want to express why, I'd love to hear about that down in the comments as well. One more thing, if this video is inspiring for you in any way, like you're like, hey, yeah, that looks awesome, I want to buy that, please consider going to my website. In fact, I'm not even going to say consider. Go to my website, destinationbabykids.com. If we are inspiring you by making these videos, the best way to support us is to purchase directly from us. We are a real brick and mortar store here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. So please feel free to check out our website before you head over, because we have kind of unusual hours, and always happy to help with all different kinds of things. But any of the strollers that you see here in this video, you can purchase directly off my website, destinationbabykids.com. Okay, so what are the strollers that we're going to be comparing in this video? Well, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 because my rep came and I begged him to leave it here, and he was kind enough to oblige me for one night. So I'm going to make as many videos as I can. And then we'll also be talking about the NUNA MIXX NEXT, but it doesn't stop there. We're also going to be comparing the CYBEX Priam 4. So 3 different strollers. We're going to talk about all the statistics and all the things that make them fabulous. So let's launch in. Thank you guys for watching. Here we go. Okay, so I don't have the CYBEX in frame yet because these two, the Reef 2 2025 and the NUNA MIXX NEXT, are going to be more similar than including the CYBEX. So the CYBEX is a bit of the outlier between the 3 strollers. I will pull it in when it is appropriate. But to get started, one thing that I wanted to show off with either the NUNA MIXX NEXT or the Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 is that they are both newborn compatible out of the box without purchasing any extra stuff. So this is really fabulous. Why do we care? Well, if you have a newborn baby and you want to lay them directly into the stroller, you're going to be able to do that immediately with either one of these products. They are both suitable for a newborn. They have a little newborn apron, which prevents the kiddo from rolling out. They also have the option for a totally flat 180-degree recline, which is optimal for a new baby. Now, what else is exciting about both of these products is that if we wanted to, we could buy a bedside bassinet that they both make, which would click a bassinet onto here. Now, for me, I don't really see the need to do a bassinet for the stroller if the stroller has a lay flat recline like what you see on both of these. So because they go flat enough, I probably wouldn't buy a bassinet, but I'm just letting the viewing audience at home know that if you did want to buy that, they are available on my website as well. So that would be like, hey, I want it next to my bed, and then I want to be able to click it onto the stroller and just go. You can definitely do that. So very cool feature available. Now, something else that's very cool about either of these strollers that's going to be different on the CYBEX, and again, the CYBEX does not do this type of recline, so the CYBEX is not suitable for a newborn directly out of the box, directly with the stroller seat. The next thing that's going to be exciting about either of these is both of these will fold with the seat facing either direction, meaning if we have kiddo in a caregiver face, which is what is going on with both of these right now, where the child is looking at the caregiver, I'm not going to have to take the seat off and turn it around in order to collapse the stroller. So I'll go ahead and collapse NUNA. Now NUNA is going to be a 2-handed collapse, meaning I need to have 2 hands and free digits in order to be able to engage the folding mechanism and fold up the stroller. So now it's folded. If I wanted to do the Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 with it in caregiver facing mode, this is not going to be a problem to do one-handed. So I'm going to elect to do it with my right hand here. So the first step is closing the seat. The next step is making sure if it's at its tallest to go ahead and set it to its shortest. You'll slide the catch, you'll lift up, you'll pinch, and then the seat, excuse me, not the seat, but the stroller frame will come together and it will just stand up. So something that's very exciting on the Reef 2 2025 is that when it's folded, the handle is not touching the ground. It's the 4 tires touching the ground. The same is true of the NUNA. If I want to stand the NUNA up, I can do that, although I would probably caution people about it in caregiver facing mode just because it stands kind of oddly. Here with the NUNA, we can also lock it. It is a manual lock on the side of the stroller. So if I want to make sure that it doesn't open up like you see here accidentally, I would engage the lock that's on the side. Now, Silver Cross has a self-lock mechanism. So there's a lock on the interior of the frame right here. It's hard to see with this espresso color because it's black, but there's a little lock right there that's been engaged, and I press that in order to open the stroller from like a standing height. Here, you'll bend over and you'll pull it up and it will open up. So again, Silver Cross it's definitely more one-handed in terms of the operation. So we'll go ahead and we will make both of these strollers turn back into big kid mode with forward facing and get these aprons off. So again, aprons are just included on strollers as a way to prevent little kids from rolling out. But as they're bigger, obviously, if you want the foot plate to be down, you can do that. Now, this is another difference in terms of that one-handedness that I was discussing with Silver Cross versus the NUNA. When you want to, and now again, they both have this option to tuck these aprons away, which is very nice and easy to do. So when we want to turn the seat around on the Silver Cross or the NUNA, if we want the kiddo to be forward facing, with NUNA, I need 2 hands. So again, I'm going to grab either side of the seat, lift. I need 2 sets of hands with 2 free sets of digits in order to turn that seat around to be forward facing. And then I can go ahead and sit the seat upright and have the canopy come down. So that's going to be MIXX NEXT turning around. Silver Cross again, one-handed. So I press a button on either side. I'm able to, and in this case, I'm going to actually sit it up a little bit here just to make my life easier. The seat will lift up, which is really awesome. And then I'm able to turn it around and put it back in pretty much one-handed. So this is a more one-handed stroller, no question, than the MIXX NEXT. Now, I'm going to bring over the CYBEX Priam just to get it in frame, talk about it a little bit. So Priam 4 from CYBEX is totally the outlier. And as you can see, in its reclined mode, it's not going as flat as the other two did. So there's a bit of an upright pitch to it. That's how you know this would not be suitable for a newborn. It also does not come with an apron. One thing that is exciting about this seat though, that's similar to Silver Cross, is that it is memory buttons for flipping the seat around. I think. Maybe mine's just sticky. Yep, so it is memory buttons that you'll be able to turn the seat around, which is really great. And it has an adjustable foot plate just like the other two do as well. So they all have a really nice big sunshade with SPF 50. So they're all going to give you good sun coverage. They're all single strollers only. So that means that if you wanted to turn them into 2 kid strollers by like putting another seat on the frame, you would not be able to do that. However, they all have the option to work with no, they don't all. The CYBEX and the Silver Cross have an option to work with older kids doing a standing riding board. The NUNA does not make one for MIXX NEXT, which is kind of disappointing for the customers that maybe want to have the standing riding board. NUNA does not make that option, and they tell you not to use it that way. So just to be aware of that, we have that information. Now, typically I have my cheat sheet. I'm going to grab it right now, and we are going to talk about the actual statistical differences, the stats between the 3 options that you see here. So Priam 4 will hold a 55-pound kid. The Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 in limited special edition espresso, as you see here, will also hold a 55-pound child. The MIXX is the outlier in this category because the MIXX will only hold a 50-pound kid. Another difference is going to be in the basket capacity, so that's the underneath storage portion. The basket capacity on the Priam 4 is 11 pounds. That's pretty low. More shocking is the basket capacity on the MIXX. So the MIXX NEXT basket will only hold 10 pounds, just something that sometimes is frustrating for people. Silver Cross wins in this category because the Reef 2 2025 will hold a 22-pound capacity in the basket, and then a 55-pound in the seat. So the Reef 2 will hold the biggest weight, which is really, really nice. Let's talk about the overall weights of the strollers themselves. So the weight on the Silver Cross is going to be 27 pounds. The weight on the NUNA is going to be 28 pounds. And then the weight on the Priam 4 is 29 pounds. So again, Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 is going to be the lightest weight of the three. But again, 29, 28, 27. So they're all relatively close, which is important and helpful information. So let's talk about seats overall sizing. The backrest height on your Mix is going to be 20.5 inches. The backrest height on your Reef 2 2025 is going to be 22 inches. And then your backrest on your CYBEX, the height of it is 21.5 inches. So again, the Reef has the tallest backrest. The canopy clearance, meaning how much room there is from the butt to the top of the canopy. The CYBEX and the MIXX NEXT are both at 23 inches of canopy clearance, and then the Reef 2 2025 is going to be at a 22-inch canopy clearance. So they're both pretty close to each other, but you do get a little higher on the other guys, but the actual seats are lower, which is weird. Your seat width is 10 3/4 on the Priam. On the Reef, it's going to be 11.5, and then on the MIXX NEXT, it's 11 inches. The seat depth on the Reef and on the CYBEX, they're both 9.5 inches deep. On the NUNA, it's only going to be 9 inches deep. The leg extension, which is this little piece down here, on the Reef 2, the leg extension is 7 inches. On the CYBEX, it's 10 inches, which is quite a long piece there. And then on the MIXX, it's going to be 6.5. The knee drop, which is the knee going all the way down to the bottom, is going to be 10.5 on Reef 2. It's 11 inches on the MIXX, and then it's 10 inches on your CYBEX. Your crotch belt depth is going to be 4.5 inches for the CYBEX, 4.5 inches for the MIXX NEXT, and 4 inches on the Reef 2 2025. The type of harness or the buckles on it. So again, this is where NUNA and Silver Cross are more similar than CYBEX. NUNA and Silver Cross both have a magnetic buckle. So they are both excellent. Since Silver Cross has updated their type of magnetic buckle, it's significantly better than, let's say, what you would have gotten on the old Wave. I really like it. It's very similar to NUNA, where it's a 3-point magnetic buckle. So they both offer a magnetic buckle, which is very cool. Now, CYBEX doesn't have a magnetic buckle. They have a 3-point buckle, which is very cool. The other thing that CYBEX is going to have, which is a little more unusual, is a one-handed, one-thread pull to tighten all of the harness. So that means, now again, you have to like keep this neat, but the main idea with that is going to be that instead of tightening from different positions, you tighten from one position by pulling it, and it sort of tightens like a car seat harness. So that's a little more exciting there. Handle height. So they all have different handle heights. I would argue Silver Cross and CYBEX, for me, both have a more comfortable starting handle height that's a little bit lower. NUNA MIXX NEXT has a very high starting handle height. So if I set all three of these with the wheels next to each other, NUNA's handle comes up taller than either the CYBEX or the Silver Cross. Silver Cross starts at about like 38.5. I'd argue CYBEX starts at 38.5. NUNA is going to start much taller at like 41.5. NUNA comes out to 45 inches tall. The Reef 2 2025 will be 44 inches. And then CYBEX is the shortest of the three at, what did I clock that one in at? 42 3/4. So it's the shortest, but not by a lot. I will say NUNA is definitely the highest, but Silver Cross, as you can see, is also pretty dang high, coming pretty much up to my chest, and I'm about 5'5". So the basket shelf. So the one, Silver Cross has a 20 deep and 16 wide basket shelf, which is awesome. Your NUNA MIXX will have a 13.5 inch wide and a 15 inch deep basket shelf. Again, it will only hold 10 pounds. And then CYBEX basket is tiny. CYBEX basket shelf is like 13 wide by 19 deep. Again, and it only holds 11 pounds. So again, like, great, it's a small basket, but it doesn't hold that much anyway, so who really cares? It does have a pop-out piece here, which is very cool. I'm gonna take out the car seat adapters because I have them hiding in the basket right now. We will get into that, don't worry. But you have this option to open up the basket on the CYBEX, which is very, very cool, to give you like more space. But again, only holds 11 pounds, so I don't know how thrilling that is necessarily. They both have all three of them will have the front wheels that are lockable. CYBEX is more atypical in that you can lock the wheels in either a forward or an underneath orientation on the frame. The other two will only lock underneath the frame. That's more common. I don't think either is good or a bad thing, but just something to be aware of. Newborn recline, as we talked about, the CYBEX does not have it, but the NUNA and the Silver Cross both have a newborn recline. And they both, they will all have an option for car seat adapter, which I'm going to show you, and then sandal friendly brake. They all have an option to go ahead and have the brake be able to be operated without wrecking a fancy pair of sandals or a nice pedicure. So all three of them have that option to engage the brake and pop it off super easily. So very, very easy. So the CYBEX will come with adapters, a rain shield, and a cup holder. The MIXX NEXT is going to come with the car seat adapter included in the purchase price. And NUNA is the fussiest, where they will only work with NUNA infant seats. The Silver Cross and the CYBEX give you a little bit more option. Actually, the Silver Cross gives you a ton more option. CYBEX gives you some additional option besides their own brand. So it's just something to be aware of. And on the Silver Cross, it's going to come with the apron, which you saw, and a rain shield included in the purchase price. So did we talk about pricing? CYBEX is going to be $1199.99. The MIXX is $1,000, and the Reef 2 2025 is $1299. So none of them have a handle touch the floor when they fold. I'm going to show you the folding of the seats in a forward-facing mode. The only one with the heel stirrup is going to be the CYBEX. So again, that's the little bit of the outlier of the three. These two don't have a heel stirrup, but again, doesn't bother me on a single only stroller that's just intended for one kiddo. It's a much bigger deal on a 2-kid stroller. As I said before, the kiddie boards are available for CYBEX, the riding board for Silver Cross as well. The Silver Cross riding board is about $160, the CYBEX is $150, so that's right, kind of in line. There is no option for MIXX to be able to do that. You can buy trays, cup holders, travel bags for all of this stuff sold separately. The other thing is the width of the products. So you're at 23.5 inches wide for the CYBEX. You're also at 23.5 inches wide for the Silver Cross. I'm pretty sure NUNA is 23.5 inches or 24 inches wide as well. So they're all very, very reasonably narrow compared to some of the single to double options, which are like 26.5 inches wide, like the Vista. So that's a very wide stroller. All of these are narrower than that, which is exciting. So let me show you guys how to fold them. Of the three, the one with the most two-handed involvement is going to be the NUNA. So you'll kick the seat forward, you'll go ahead and engage the trigger mechanisms to fold it up, and then it just folds down. You'll lock it, and then you can stand it up, and there we're able to see the standard size. Now, with Silver Cross, as we talked about before, it's all one-handed, which for me is really nice because, again, I do this stuff all day, and a lot of times when I'm explaining this to customers, I have like a phone in my hand for my store or all types of different things, so we're able to fold it up. As you saw before, it probably gets a slightly more compact fold when it's in parent-facing mode, but it still, of course, folds quite nicely with the seat forward-facing. CYBEX is the biggest weirdo of the three in terms of the fold. The handle will come down, and then they show in the video that it just like comes together and stands. I'm not even kidding. They're like, it just stands like that when it's folded. So that's the standing fold on the CYBEX. So of the three, the CYBEX is for sure the largest fold, which again is not the end of the world, but just some things to be aware of. I want to show this guy in its smallest fold where the seat would be backward facing, just to be fair, because that will be its neatest. And it just looks good. This little Silver Cross is coming in hot this year. This 3D sculpted embossed fabric that they have on it is particularly fabulous. So this just kind of shows 4 on the floor. Here's NUNA standing up, and CYBEX is standing up as well. But this kind of shows you folding differences between the 3, and for sure, Silver Cross is probably the smallest fold, the lightest weight of the 3. Has the new adjustment on the front for the harness, which is very cool, the magnetic buckle. So very similar features between all 3, but then just like these slight differences, right? So what's my opinion? Well, I'm gonna give it to you. CYBEX is the hardest one for me of the 3. It's not the strongest seller that I have. It is a very cool stroller, but just in terms of feature set, it's probably like the least featured compared to the 3. The other thing that's a little difficult about the CYBEX for me is that the car seat adapters that you get for it work with CYBEX brand car seats, which again, not super strong selling for me. And they don't work with like that many other brands. So typically when you get this style of adapter from one of these companies, they'll work with NUNA, CYBEX, Maxi Cozy, Kleck, but there's been quite a few car seats that I've tried to put on here that just do not fit. I'm going to show the Maxi Cozy on the CYBEX. So this is a Maxi Cozy Perry 180. The reason why I'm showing this is that the lighter weight CYBEXs just recently got recalled. So if you didn't want a recalled car seat and you didn't want the reclining CYBEX car seat because it's heavy, a nice lightweight option is going to be the Perry 180 from Maxi Cozy to go on there. So that's kind of a nice little look. But for me, between these 3, CYBEX is going to, again, be the hardest to sell and the hardest to sell to consumers because the basket's a little bit smaller, it's pricey, doesn't work with a ton of car seats, and it's just a little funkier looking. Now, between Silver Cross and NUNA, what has been shocking, especially within the last probably month, is that my Silver Cross sales have shot through the roof. And MIXX NEXT for me has not sold nearly as well as it used to since the tariff price increases. The main thing that I would hear about NUNA that's different from Silver Cross when I put customers to have weight in them and push them around the store, because I do that. I force them to put, newborns in it, a newborn weight of 10 pounds on the car seat. Then I also force them to push 30 pounds around. And then lately now I've been adding 10 pounds to the basket of everything and putting 40 pounds on the seat so people can really see how they feel. Without question, the number one reason that my customers are getting Silver Cross Reef 2 2025 over MIXX NEXT is going to be, and I'm going to push the CYBEX out of the frame here because again, it's sort of like the outlier of these strollers. NUNA has a different type of suspension than Silver Cross. Silver Cross is a much stiffer overall suspension, which translates to feeling sturdier. So when people push this stroller or they move it around, there isn't a ton of flexibility in the frame. There isn't a lot of clicking. There isn't a lot of flexible joints and pieces that you feel moving around. Based on the way that MIXX NEXT is designed, there's just more moving parts and pieces, which translates to what is sometimes referred to as frame sway. So you'll get people touching it and they'll do this and they'll be like, is it supposed to be loose and bouncy like that? And the reality is when there's a kid in here, you know, it's definitely harder to do that. But as you can see, and maybe here, that for people has been really problematic within the last month. I'm not sure what's happened. This has been traditionally one of my best-selling strollers. But lately, people who are looking at this mention that they're not into that, but they like other aspects of it. And when you show them Silver Cross, yes, it's a little more expensive, but it's still in that premium price point, right? We're already talking about strollers that are like $1,000. A couple $100 more for this type of customer probably isn't the biggest deal in the world. So that's like one part of it. But I think the other is just the textile set, the overall look, the lighter weight, the one-handedness of it is very compelling to consumers versus MIXX NEXT, which honestly, you know, hasn't been redesigned in a while. So if you're looking for one with like maybe more current feature set that people have given the feedback and they're listening a little bit more, I would argue Silver Cross seems to be listening to their consumers and making these kind of adjustments more critically in ways that are meaningful to their consumers versus NUNA. Again, this is just to show the car seats that we were talking about. So with NUNA, as I pointed out, you would have to do a NUNA infant seat. And for some of my customers, especially lately with the tariffs, they're not into the pricing of the NUNA infant seats. So like a NUNA infant seat, for instance, this guy right here, which is the match to this stroller, is gonna be $650 just for this infant seat. Yes, it's very beautiful. It looks really cool on here. It has a gigantic sunshade, but this infant seat will only have either a 1 or a 2 year warranty. I need to double check. I'm pretty sure it's 1 year. The stroller has a 2 year warranty. My Silver Cross stroller has a 3 year warranty. The Silver Cross, when you do the car seat on this guy, they do a set of adapters for $60 that'll work for a whole host of brands. So NUNA, CYBEX, Maxi Cozy, Kleck, probably even that little Britex Willow, and even Peg Perego. So I'm gonna show you guys that too, because no one ever believes me that that works on there. So like NUNA and NUNA, always easy. You could do NUNA directly on this Silver Cross if you wanted, just like that. Now the issue here is that it's $650 and it's a 2-button push and lift to remove it, which is kind of annoying. If we looked at, let's say, and I'm just gonna spin this over here, a really nice match for a Silver Cross would be the Kleck Ling. This is a car seat that has a limited lifetime warranty, so it's a 9-year warranty. It's a 9-year expiration. As you can see, it's an enormous sunshade. It is made in Canada, not made in China. They have the zip out material. They have a wool fabric if you're looking for ultra, ultra premium. The most expensive version of this Kleck Ling infant seat is gonna be $550, but the version you see right here is gonna be $499 with the zip and the flame retardant free fabric, the breathable on the back, and the single hand squeeze release versus our NUNA 2-button pinch release. So it's a less expensive seat. It's 8 pounds. It does everything fabulously. And as you can see, that fits on the Silver Cross. But as I was mentioning before, we saw the NUNA on there. We saw that Kleck on there. Now I'm gonna even take this Peg Perego Lounge, which is a really fabulous little seat. And the reason why I like this car seat, and this is so cool, made in Italy, 5-year warranty, and this one reclines. So if you want your seat to go flatter for a little baby and you want him to be in here, you know, for a longer period of time and not feel guilty, a reclining car seat can be a really awesome feature. And as I pointed out, this Peg Perego, super cool with the gold and the little bit of rose gold on the color of this specific color, which is called, oh God, I'm forgetting the name, Blue Shine. But Blue Shine looks sick with Espresso because they have the coordinating little hints of gold, which is very, very cool. So as I pointed out, Silver Cross will give you that option to be able to work more car seats onto it than any of the other 2 brands that we were comparing it to. So that's something I'd want to point out to my viewing audience as well. And of course, just for kicks, we'll go ahead and fold up these strollers with just the adapters on them because they all work that way too. Don't worry, I won't forget the CYBEX. I'll go get it. Didn't run too far away. So again, NUNA, 2 fingers. We need to have, also if the handle's at its tallest, I would lower it. You'll engage, that'll fold, and it can stand, looks like that. Our Silver Cross, again, Reef 2 2025, special edition Espresso, available on my website, destinationbabykids.com. Really easy to fold up, self-locking, and we can set it right next to the NUNA. I will grab the CYBEX and we'll fold that without the other stuff on it. So I'll go ahead and, CYBEX also doesn't fold with the seat on backward, whereas NUNA and Silver Cross do. CYBEX will only fold with the seat in a forward-facing mode. Another trick you can do with your CYBEX is, again, lock the tires so that should make it easier to fold. But it's still kind of odd. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. I just like really kind of struggle with this one because it like comes together and then it's just supposed to stand, but it still feels a little awkward to me. Okay, so if you have questions or you have comments, please feel free to leave them below. I'm curious which one you think makes the most sense for you. Do you like the bounciness of the NUNA? Do you think that that would be a value? Do you like the sturdiness of a Silver Cross? If you're walking and your dog pulls, you can totally trust that it's gonna stay put. Or Does the cool futuristic look of CYBEX and some of those features that we discussed, are those appealing to you? I'm curious. Leave comments below.